In this video, I'm going to go over some of the most popular community suggestions as well as some of my own suggestions for the game Enshrouded. I will say that once again, none of these are in a particular order. It's just 10 things that I and you, the community, would like to see in the game. So let's get started. So the first one that I've decided to add, I'm sure a lot of other people share the same sentiment towards, and that's just generally more base building parts, or at least a variety of extra bits. So these could be, slightly rounded walls, slightly rounded roofs. It could be anything really. More ways for us to create and craft. Also, something like a chisel would be really cool. So as well as like extra base building parts, maybe just like an extra tool as well, so we can chisel away rocks a little bit more precisely. That just allows for a little bit of better terrain molding. At the moment, you can use a pickaxe to carve rock, as I demonstrated in my unique terrain video, but it is far from ideal. We could still use a little chisel or something. It'd be perfect. It'd be really good. Next up, I'd like to be able to pin the recipe when I'm strengthening my flame. It's not a massive change, but it's certainly a quality of life change. Sometimes when you want to strengthen the flame, it contains quite a few obscure materials that are harder to remember. So yeah, it's not a massive one, but it's like a nice to have. So if I could just pin that recipe and see what I need, that'd be fantastic. We can already do that at the moment, if you didn't know, with like items, clothing, tools, anything else you want to build. If you go to a crafting station, you can pin the recipe. The next point is semi-doable at the moment, but I feel like there could be a better implementation of it, and that's laying like custom roads and paths. Someone, do correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like at the moment there's only really the dirt road block, and you have to push that around with a rake, and the rake's not adjustable in size, so it only really has like a certain width. Either way, like it's a little bit of it feels like a workaround at the moment when you have to make roads. But it'd be nice if they actually implemented a proper path laying system. I think that would be really cool and would add quite a lot to the game. But if anyone knows of any other materials or methods for laying paths, then let me know. I'm open to suggestions. That'd be really cool to know. So this next point, this gets me really excited, or it'd be really exciting if they could put it in, and that's just adding some extra decoration pieces, such as like hanging ivy or ivy that you can put on a wall. Extra overgrown sort of vibe. They kind of have that thing at the moment on some of their structures, but I don't think we're able to place it on our structures yet, so it'd be really cool to see that come into the game. Maybe some shrubs that can go across windowsills, but either way, it's not a huge point, but one that would really add a lot, especially as someone like myself who enjoys building. Just think of all the extra things you could do as well. You could attach ivy to a wall, you could remove the wall, and then you could walk through the ivy, and it kind of conceals it's like another way of doing like a little secret passageway, which I think would be really cool. That'd be a exciting one for me. This next one I believe is one of the most popular community requests. That doesn't mean we'll definitely get it. Obviously, they say on their suggestion board, just because everybody wants it doesn't mean it's doable or it's in line with the vision of the developers. But what I'm referring to here is the weather system. Now this was shown to be done really well in Valheim. Once again, as someone who enjoys building a base, the cozy vibes you got when there was a storm outside and you could sit by the crackling fire as the rain lashed down outside, it really just hit different. Just a stormy weather would be really cool. I already feel like this game has incredible lighting for the most part. It's a little bit over orange in the sunrise and sunsets, but generally this game has some really, really beautiful lighting. And I just think like the lightning storms and just sitting in your house with a cozy fire. It's dark and raining outside. Lovely. That would be really spot on. And my next suggestion, and it's one that I see again a lot on the community suggestions, is water. Now I do believe the devs have said that it's difficult to implement water in this game due to some physics-based challenges. However, I still think it's good to put across that we would like some form of water-based decorations. You see a lot of people making these at the moment, makeshift, with the blue, the blue luminescent block can act as water. But it'd be really good if we could have maybe water fountains or some kind of small waterfall that has a start point and an end point, and it just sort of flows from point A to point B, and we can kind of hide the start and end points. Anyway, I think it was worth a mention. So, devs, if you're watching, there's no pressure, but it'd be really nice to know whether something like that is possible in the future. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a vast lake, but just some water features would be really, really nice. Something else that I think Valheim did quite well, and I'm only mentioning this because firstly, this game is simply amazing, but it's no secret they've taken some inspiration from Valheim, and that's okay. Games build on the successes of other games, and this game will be a pillar that holds up the next style of genre, and that's a massive compliment to these developers of Enshrouded. But something else that was good in Valheim was the sort of micro skills that you had. If you mined loads, if you cut logs, you could mine faster, or you could farm trees faster. Just running everywhere gave you improved stamina. Maybe we could have a gliding skill. The more you glide, the less stamina it uses. Anyway, it's just something to consider. I think it'd be really cool. It would just add an extra be a bit more dynamic, you know, add some more depth to the game. I'm not entirely sure how this one would work, so I'll leave the brain power to the developers to tell me if it's possible. But being able to fill crafting stations from your magic chests, I think has the potential to be a really cool feature. So imagine, you know, you go out and you gather loads of resources, you throw it into a magic chest, and then from that magic chest, I can push them into the corresponding crafting station. I just think that would be really, really useful. It probably makes me sound really lazy, but isn't that what survival games are catering towards these days anyway? It's not just laziness though, it is just like, it feels nice, there's a flow to it. But it's something that's more quality of life, and I won't lose sleep over it. It's non-existence, but I do think it's an idea to explore. Another one that I've seen the community suggest quite a lot now, and I agree with, would be sort of transmog. If you don't know what transmog is, it's a term that's used a lot in, I think, MMOs. And that's just basically, you can wear whichever gear you like with the benefits of one particular set of gear. So if I was a healer, I could put my healer set on, but I could use the aesthetic of any other gear I like. I did make a post on Reddit about the devs for their design of armor and just basically praising how good it is. And I really think they've done an amazing job with the armor. It looks amazing. We could use a little bit more variety, but that's something that will come with time. But as someone who plays as healer myself, I'm very much restricted to the gear that has the best statistical advantage for my class. If I could keep my stats, but I could apply some different gear, I think it'd be a really nice little addition to the game. I imagine there's a lot more armor to come as well, because I mean, we've only got like 22-25% of the map, or whatever it is at the moment. We don't have the whole map. There's going to be more levels to come, and I imagine with that more armor. So I imagine a lot more mixing and matching later. Now, something else I've seen the community show a lot of enthusiasm towards is mounts. I'm not 100% sure how this would look, or even how I feel about it, but I do think it could be quite cool if it's implemented properly. Again, you could have a stamina system for your horse. You know, you feed it tomatoes or whatever your horse likes to munch on, and away they go. It's something that it's something I could definitely get behind. But again, I wouldn't lose sleep over it if it wasn't in the game, or if it's not in the vision of the developers. That's fine. It's an extra traversal method that I think would be, yeah, I think it would be good. So that concludes my 10 suggestions for the developers of Enshrouded. I like to think for the most part that these are realistic and achievable suggestions. There's nothing like, we don't want to be flying spaceships around here, but I know there'll be a lot more that you guys would like to see. So let's hear your suggestions in the comments below. What do you want to see come to Enshrouded? This game has set an unbelievably solid foundation for its future growth, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. And I'm going to pump out so many more hours on top of the hours that I already have, so thank you for the devs for making this game, because it's a perfect game for me. If you're enjoying Enshrouded content, make sure you leave a like, subscribe and stick around for future videos. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.